Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 147 of Be With Me. We're studying the life and times of Paul. And when he first became a Christian, before he actually even met another Christian, the first Christian he met had a vision. And in that vision, he was told that Paul was God's chosen instrument to carry his name before the Gentiles and kings. And up to this point, I don't think he's encountered a king, but today, Paul is going to encounter his first king. This is from Acts chapter 25, verse 13. And we're going to learn about King Agrippa. He's the grandson of Herod the Great, son of Herod Agrippa the First. This guy is Herod Agrippa the Second. And his grandpa is a famous guy. He built Masada, which is an incredible palace on top of a big rock. He also repaired and rebuilt the temple. In fact, it's even termed the temple of God is actually termed Herod's temple by some people because of what he did in building the Temple Mount. So this guy that we're going to meet today has huge shoes to fill. He's accompanied by Bernice, who's not his wife. It's actually his sister, who kind of was his right-hand man, apparently. And he, Agrippa, has been given authority from the Roman Empire. So the big cheese, the world power, is the emperor, who is actually Nero at the moment in Rome, who has given the procurator, who's Felix, and now Festus, and also this king power. So all this is under the Roman authority. Here's the story. Acts chapter 25, verse 13. Now when some days had passed, Agrippa the king and Bernice arrived at Caesarea and greeted Festus, the new procurator. And as they stayed there many days, Festus laid Paul's case before the king, saying, there is a man left prisoner by Felix, and when I was at Jerusalem, the chief priests and elders of the Jews laid out their case against him, asking for a sentence of condemnation against him. I answered them that it was not the custom of the Romans to give up anyone before the accused met the accusers face to face and had opportunity to make his defense concerning the charge against him. So when they came together here, I made no delay. But on the next day, I took my seat on the tribunal and ordered the man to be brought. When the accusers stood up, they brought no charge in his case of such evils as I supposed. Rather, they had certain points of dispute with them about their own religion and about a certain Jesus who was dead, but Paul asserted to be alive. Then here's my favorite line of today, verse 20. Being at a loss how to investigate these questions, I asked whether he wanted to go to Jerusalem to be tried there regarding them. But when Paul had appealed to be kept in custody for the decision of the emperor, I ordered him to be held until I could send him to Caesar. Agrippa said to Festus, I would like to hear this man myself. And he says, tomorrow you will hear him. So we meet today. Before we get to tomorrow, we meet King Agrippa and his right-hand woman, Bernice's sister. Now, I like this guy, Festus, because he is not delaying. His predecessor kept Paul for 2 years under some sort of custody with some sort of a liberty. It's a little unclear exactly how at liberty he was. But this guy says, I made no delay, and the very next day I sat on the tribunal, sort of the judgment seat, and got this investigation started. And I like how he sums up what Paul says, which is, number one, it's about Jesus, and it's about dead to life. And that's a pretty good assessment of kind of the essentials of the gospel. So here's some things I like about today's story. Number one, I like Festus that he got to the job that he was supposed to do, which is to be judge and not keep people in prison for a long period of time. Felix did, I think, just because he liked to hear Paul. Secondly, he pursues this investigation and scrutiny. So what would you do if you're a listener and you're just either new to Christianity or you're not a believer? Thanks for listening. What would you do? How would you study this? How would you get to the bottom of whether you should be a Christian or not? Well, here's what I would recommend. Number one, interrogate the witnesses. That's what Festus does. He actually gives a good example of this. I would encourage you also to infiltrate. This is like a detective, some detective show. Infiltrate their activities. Do what they do. That is, go to church, see what they do at worship, see what they do at Sunday school, see how they serve the community, see how they go to the soup kitchen, go to the homeless shelter. Thirdly, I would say become a student of their written record. And I think understanding the history kind of gets you on the ramp. It gives meaning and language and understanding of the moment. That is, understanding or exposure to the past gives meaning to the current moment. The big thing here, number 4, is using your power for good. And at least so far, Festus, does that. He gets, starts to interrogate. He gets counsel. He has a visiting king, supposedly of some wisdom, certainly of power. So why not get his advice? And I'm speaking again to you who are investigating Christianity. You may not be king of an area. The procurator in Rome here, he's in charge of an area that about the size of Israel today. And Agrippa's in charge of a similar area, but a little bit further away. He's from about 200 miles away. So you may not be king of a kingdom that big, but you are kingdom. You are king of your kingdom. You are queen of the realm of yourself. So you do have agency. You do have power. So the teaser today is that we're going to hear more, because Paul is going to give witness tomorrow, and I'm going to hold that. In the meantime, let's appreciate that the gospel comes amid real life, with real politics, real money, real desires, hunger and power, real problems of transportation, political authority, all these different things. So we are enjoying the story today of Festus kind of doing his job right, and I think giving an example on, if you are a non-believer and you're investigating the claims of Christianity, kind of do what Festus did. In the meantime, I'll see you tomorrow, and then we'll hear about Paul. Thanks for listening.